Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another race in the 2021 Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament. We're here tonight with a Game 2 between TjMaelstrom and Incoherent. Both the second and third seeds in the Group A-B. TjMaelstrom took Game 1 from Incoherent, and Incoherent looking to stay in this series tonight. I'm Lumaga, and I am joined by Dane 8373. Dane, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. There's been another great day for watching some rando today, and we got another good one coming up. So like you said, we've got Group A-B with the 2 versus the 3. The winner of this series will go on to face Kern, while the loser will face Paradox in the loser bracket. Yeah, so if Incoherent wins, we'll get to see one more game between these guys. Otherwise, TjMaelstrom will move on.
Yeah, so as is the rest of the tournament, we're going to start off in Link's house and have to go through standard. Gonna get an item just as we enter the castle. What do you think we're going to find today?
I'm thinking we're going to get a bow start today, so we'll see if that goes true. The bow is nice to start off with because it makes the escape sequence really easy. It's also easy to farm, and it gives you Eastern Palace access, so it's just nice all around to get that item.
I can't agree anymore. That is probably one of the funnest items to do in Escape. Anything that's heavy magic use like Fire Rod or Samaria, you got to do some management. Arrows, just keep plugging away.
All right, we see them get the glove at the start, which gives this interesting strategy we see TjMaelstrom doing, where he tries to get a bomb from this rock, and he does. So he doesn't have to worry about getting one in Escape. That could be pretty nice if there is no bombs in the enemy drop pack. Though the fact that they have the bow means they can get back to Escape anytime they want. So Incoherent just elected not to try to farm bombs there.
Well, we did get a quick map check just as we exited the house. It was 3 crystals, just plain old crystals in all 3 dungeons. And the hammer is our starting weapon today. So another great weapon to start.
Yeah, we're already really close to Dark World access with under a minute in. We had a chance for the sub 1 minute Dark World, but just got 3 bombs from that. So Incoherent's not even gonna have to worry about having not farmed that bow and rock. He already has bombs to get to the back.
Yeah, good heads up play from TjMaelstrom to remember that is a bomb spot. You get a 50-50 chance of getting a bomb out of that rock in front of Link's house. And if there's no bombs in the chests or in the prize packs, yeah, you're coming back later. So good play by him.
So with both the runners already having bombs, they're not going to have to worry about. Normally, when you're in this escape sequence like this, you like to pick off a few guards, see what prize pack they're in, and then decide how many you need to farm to get a bomb. But these guys have the luxury of just being able to go through escape as fast as possible. They already know they have enough bombs to get through, and they also, even if they only use the 1 bomb, they still have enough to get through the 2 checks in Kakariko that are to the north of the bomb selling place. So they're pretty set for bombs for now.
Yeah, the big thing about Escape is, getting real crisp movement out of here. If you're able to get through in just under 6 minutes, you're doing pretty good. And both these runners, about at the same spot, picking off these guards with the hammer. Just a heart so far. So still looking for plenty, but they got plenty of time to get stuff.
Yeah, and when you've already got the hammer and the glove this early, they could have very quickly get many locations open to them if they just get the Moon Pearl.
Well, Dark World access does not necessarily mean you're going to go straight there, but would be an interesting opening to a seed. There's still plenty to check in the overworld, on the light world before you head there. But fortune favors the bold. I would love to see some interesting routing out of this.
Yeah, early Dark World access. Those can be pretty exciting seeds because you can see some very different routing between the 2 runners based off if they want to go into the Dark World early or just follow their standard sort of dense light world checks before going in like they normally would. And so kind of while they're going through this, if you're familiar with the tournament, as I'm sure a lot of you are, you know that this is hard standard mode, which the standard part is the fact that they're walking through this castle. And hard mode is that we're going to not be able to get some of the safety items in this game. So our swords, there will be still be all the items will still be placed as usual, but we won't be, if we see something like the fourth sword, we'll actually just get a green 20. And silver arrow is the same. We can't get silver arrows. We'll just get a green 20 if we find a second bow. And no mail upgrades. Those will be replaced with green 20s, and our hearts will be capped at, we'll be able to get 16 pieces of heart, sanctuary heart, and I think it's 6 heart containers. Your max is 14 hearts.
Yeah, definitely presents a little bit more of a challenge if you're not used to some low percentage or not having the safety of even a blue mail, because once you get into the Dark World or some later bosses, and especially Ganon, any contact is going to hurt pretty bad. So you do have to be kind of on your game and be used to not taking so many direct hits.
Absolutely. Those late Dark World dungeons, even for the best runners, if you just get off your game a little bit, you can get out of a rhythm and you can take a couple hits and then you take a death, and that can just be devastating. So you have to kind of be on your toes at all times. It's meant to mimic the sort of equipment that you'd get through a normal speedrun. There's a little bit more safety sprinkled here and there, but for the most part, the equipment you can get from this run is very similar to what the equipment you'd see in a world record speedrun for this category.
All right, so now we get the back of escape, the secret room, giving us 2 sets of bombs and a blue rupee. Lots of blue things, nothing really of much use.
Yeah, at least they want to buy any bombs for Kakariko, but yeah, nothing of real use from here. But we got the hammer and the glove on our first few checks, and then everything else just came up blank for us so far.
Well, you do need 3 you do need about 4 if you want a full clear Kakariko. There are 4 bomb spots and 13 items in Kakariko proper, plus a few on the outskirts. So, you'll take some bombs.
Yeah, for sure. If you're going to it's nice to get those bomb checks before Kakariko. You don't have to worry about saving up enough money to buy bombs and then not having enough to go to the bottle vendor. It's very nice. Looks like Incoherent is going up to check the Lumberjack ledge. We'll see if TjMaelstrom does the same or if he elects to just go over to Lost Woods right away. It's looking like he's going to skip the Lumberjack.
Yeah, and I would say that I see a lot of runners go up to Lumberjack and check it if they're intent on checking the bush crab and the tree pull, just to find some money, maybe find bombs if they didn't get it in escape, and save that. And while you're up here, you may want to go ahead and check it. Speaking of some money, 20 rupees will help you out in the early game. You do need to buy that item from the bottle vendor. That'll take 100, and you're not quite there yet.
Yeah, you like to get, okay, the 50 will put them there. With the 40 or so, you can normally get there just by lifting up the items in Blind's hut, the pots in Blind's hut, and the pots in the well. You'll get up to just about enough to get the bottle vendor, but it's nice to not even have to worry about that. Just know you're going to have enough. Lumberjack Cave was a heart container.
Yeah, so no sense going all the way through Aghanim and getting back to the Lumberjack for that. It'll be the last time we see that one.
Yeah, it's probably going to end up just turning into a green 20 anyways.
True.
All right, we'll get to see what's in Blind's hut. Maybe we'll get a little bit more progression here. We kind of turned up empty ever since that hammer.
Still fairly empty. It's okay.
Yeah, you see the hammer and the glove as your first 2 and think maybe I'll get Dark World access quickly and have a lot of opportunities, but I guess the seed has some other ideas. Now
we've got, as we mentioned, all 3 Light World dungeons are crystals. those are generally shorter dungeons, which means there are 3 pendants in the Dark World. You know, if we don't have to dive any pendant dungeons, and it happens to be the longer dungeons, which are the pendants, this could be a fairly quick seed.
Yeah, those pendants in the Dark World, they're always a double-edged sword, because it's really great when, say, Turtle Rock's a pendant and you just don't ever have to go there, but then when you get to your last few items hunt, maybe you're looking for your mirror to get into Swamp Palace, and Turtle Rock's your most dense location. It's just, you wonder if you have to dip that. And then if you go in there, it's empty, you're feeling pretty bad. So it can be both either really good or really bad, just depending on how the seed wants to treat you.
So we saw a mushroom here in the CAC well. Incoherent's about to pick it up. When you get an early mushroom like that, you know, the way the randomizer kind of seeds its items, you may want to prioritize that a little bit, just because it places the key items first. So you are going to want to maybe inspect that. You do have a chance to save it for maybe a fake powder glitch later.
Notice we see the flippers there, so I was going to suggest that they could fake flipper out of Link's house when they do their save and quit, but they can just regular flipper out of Link's house to turn in that mushroom should they feel so inclined.
Yeah, that does open up, you know, another path for them after they take care of the South Shore area. And you mentioned fake flipper. You can do it, but you would not be able to get into the waterfall chests without the Moon Pearl, which they did not yet have.
Oh yeah, I was just mentioning the fake flipper to turn in the mushroom real quickly.
Oh, sure. Well, they do have the gloves, so they could have gotten up there anyway, right?
Yeah. It's just, it's if you want to save Scummets particularly, it's really nice to do it right after saving that quit to Link's house. All right, so it looks like TjMaelstrom just decided to do the race game, and just a 20 for his troubles.
Makes sense. Kakariko has not given a whole lot besides flippers, so you might take the chance and just get it. Incoherent gonna scout it out first. If it was an item, you know, that would probably burn a little bit more time, but no harm lost here, or no time lost here.
All right, looks like TjMaelstrom is going to take his flippers and go over to the Witch's Hut real quick to turn in that mushroom. Makes a lot of sense for the exact same reasons you mentioned earlier, and also the potential opportunity to save Scum the mushroom should he feel inclined.
Yeah, when I see a mushroom that early, I just get this feeling that I don't want to put it off for too long. But we'll see in real quick. But Incoherent taking a more traditional route, going to the dam, likely to Mini Moldorm, and we'll see where he heads after those.
Yeah, we've been seeing some runners go from the dam to the Agena area as kind of a different play, but yeah, traditionally they go to the Mini Moldorm.
So that was 20 green rupees. That would have been your blue mail. Sadly,
yep, that's all it could be at this point.
And sadly, we won't see it.
So it did place an item there, but just not one you're allowed to get.
Now, did he reset or did he save and quit?
I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if he did either.
Okay, so Chad is saying he reset. So he
All
will
right,
be able
Chad,
to save that.
Honest.
Yep, he will be able to save that mushroom. And if he does not find powder, but there is an item on powder, he could fake it with the Cane of Samaria and the mushroom.
Yeah, that could even be useful, like with the green mail in the layer dungeons. If you take an unneeded hit, you can even use fake powder on those anti-fairies. We're also seeing Incoherent get the boots, which will be really nice because now when first of all, you just get to go fast. Second of all, next time he saves and quits the Sanctuary, he can go up and get the Bonk Rock. So if he wanted to sequence break the mountain, for instance, he'd get to get an extra check on the way.
Yeah, and even though he does have the flippers here, he's going to Ice Rod Cave. Could set up a water walk and just get through some of these checks a little bit faster than if he were swimming.
Absolutely. It's so nice when you get the boots before going to Ice Rod Cave, because that being able to use the boots on the water versus using the flippers, it's such a good time save.
And a bow. So now we're starting to see some items pop up. That bow gives us Eastern out of logic until we find a light source.
Yeah, neither of these runners are going to have any trouble doing Eastern in the dark, especially with the sword. It'll be very, very easy for them. So whenever they decide they want to do that, they can go up there. We know Eastern's a crystal. So it may just depend on what items they get. If they were to get, say, the Moon Pearl and the Mirror in their flipper checks, then they'll probably like to do Palace of Darkness and combo it. But if not, then Saha's Hut plus Eastern's got a lot of items. So it's a pretty nice check to go to.
So we got Incoherent finishing out at least the hobo check. He did not get the rupees under the rock that TjMaelstrom just opened up. He's going to need 500 rupees. Well, he got bailed out by the hobo here, but could have been risky. He could have gotten all the way up to Zora without the money to pay it.
Yeah, it's nice to always be conscious when you're just this close. You can go into this thief. It's a little unfortunate that he's at exactly 479 because he's going to have to do it twice if he wants to be 100% certain. But it's really nice to just top off your rupees in that little spot right there.
Incoherent making a good tactical decision going from east to west into that portal, just so he doesn't get his momentum carrying him somewhere. Tries to swim around it and get sucked back into the portal. There was a Moon Pearl over at the waterfall, so good choice to go up here. We got Dark World access now.
And the Titan's mitts are up on Zora Ledge. The stream stick gipped a little bit, but that was the Titan's mitts up there. So the flipper checks today are very good.
Yeah, so now things are kind of wide open to you. You got boots, you got a glove, you got the Moon Pearl. You do have access to a dungeon that you can clear, and especially at this stage, like you mentioned, these runners are going to have no problem with dark rooms. So tough call on where exactly you're going to go, but these guys know what to do.
Yeah, not only do they have dungeons to clear, they've got 3 different pretty solid item dense locations. You can do Hype Cave up to Pod, you could do Saha Eastern, you could do Village of Outcast plus Thieves Town all this time. Though we don't know the advantage, we know Eastern's a crystal, we don't know about the other ones. So Incoherent's going to go in the Dark World, probably do a map check to kind of help his decision process, and then go over to Hype Cave, just get those 5 cooked items.
All right, we got our red crystals in Skull Woods and Thieves Town. Green pendant is Ice Palace, and I saw Swamp and I believe Pod were our other pendants.
That's correct, yes. So it might not want to do Pod right now. If it's pendant, hopefully you can avoid that. So we'll see which dungeon, if any, Incoherent chooses to go to next. I would probably lean towards Eastern just because it's got Saha's Hut plus all the items there. And now he's got the Fire Rod, so it may even be fully in logic.
So with that Fire Rod, you just opened up Skull Woods too. It makes perfect sense to do your village and your Skull Woods Thieves Town checks too. Get those crystals right away. That's your 5-6 also. So that opens up the ferry.
Yeah, that would be a nice piece of routing, because then if you ever decide you want to go over to the Pyramid Ledge, you can do the Pyramid with it. And Incoherent, I think, is agreeing with your sentiment. He's deciding that he's going to go take the south route up to Kakariko. He's got the Titan Smith, so he can just lift the blocks up, get up to the Village of Outcasts, Thieves Town area, and do both that in Skull Woods. He's got the hammer. Doesn't have to risk orphaning the chest in Thieves Town, so he's got a lot of stuff to do between Skull Woods and Thieves Town. Only
thing I don't like is that we're still on Fighter Sword, and Mothula is open. It's not an easy fight, but you have half magic. You do have a hammer for some melee power. You can burn them down with the Fire Rod. Maybe you decide to do Thieves Town first, see if you can get a little bit more health.
Yeah, I agree. I think that with this loadout, Thieves Town's not going to be particularly difficult because the blind fight can be a little easy. Sometimes the Hellway in there can get a bit out of control, but with 6 hearts should be enough. And there was also some good presence of mind there by Incoherent. Sometimes when you're in the Dark World, you forget Shovel Game costs 80 rupees, so you better make sure you have enough before you walk over there, because you don't want to go over there and see you don't have enough money to do it. So he took a quick stop in the archery game to get enough money. And we see TjMaelstrom may run into the similar issue. He has exactly 79, so he needs 1 more rupee to be able to play this game.
Yeah, Incoherent making that money back, digging all over, almost the max number of digs for an Ether Medallion. We're going to need at least 1 to get into these 2 dungeons, Misery Mire and Turtle Rock.
Yeah, so there's a decent shot that ether medallion is required between one of those two, but we'll have to wait a little while before we figure that one out. So yeah, it looks like Incoherence is going to do the quick checks outside of Thieves Town. I expect to go into Thieves Town after. It's right over here. Maybe get a little bit of items to make you feel a little more comfortable at the moth fight, and then go over to Skull Woods. Let's see how Incoherent he's going to do the archer game too. Yeah, he realizes he's unfortunately 1 rupee short and doesn't have like something like the shovel where he could try to farm just a single rupee.
Yeah, and he's definitely practiced this archery game at some point. So got plenty of money to finish out the archery game the dig game and the chest game up in Village of Outcast now.
And the good thing about doing the archer game is they still need money to get into pot if they decide to do that, or buy the big bomb, which are 2 decisions that they could make in the reasonable future, especially the big bomb, because pot's dependent, they might want to skip out on that, but they do need the 100 rupees to buy the big bomb if they decide to do that. And that's a nice mirror over there on Incoherence Tide in Thieves Town. If he chooses to, he'll have some access to checks like, I don't believe they checked Sick Kid with that bottle yet. They can do the Smiths relatively easily, though I would expect they would do dungeons first before they start thinking about more overworld. They've got so much open to them right now. The scary part, though, sorry, you continue.
I was just going to say, Mirror actually also gives us access to Hera, so I'm just looking through the dungeons that we have the ability to clear. Of course, Eastern, Desert, Hera, Skullwoods, Thieves Town. We just need now a flute and an ice rod and a cane of Samaria, and I think that's. Oh, we need
medallions could come up, but yeah,
could be medallions. Yes.
And these runners, I'm not sure about the hovering capabilities or Moldorm bounce. They may want to get the hook shot for GT, but I think that a viable strategy here is you can just clear all of the dungeons except for Meyer that are south of the mountain, then just go up the mountain and hope that there's so many checks up on that mountain, they can check all of the mountain right now. I guess Spike Cave's technically out of logic, but they can do basically everything up there. There's a lot of items and they don't need that many for go mode. So it seems like a decent idea to just clear out dungeons and go up there.
Yeah, if you had this game open with a tracker, all the dungeons except those last 2 just turned green on your tracker, which means fully clearable, at least those crystal dungeons. So just go for it. You're in dungeon clearing mode. Get those crystals. Pyramid Ferry will be accessible soon, and just try and figure out the quickest route to get through as many dungeons here. Hope to find that flute and that hookshot along the way.
Yeah, so this seed could be very fast, but the other unfortunate side for them is that they have access to all of their pendant dungeons as well. So this seed could also be really mean. It could hide maybe the bomb boost medallions needed for Turtle Rock, and that's hiding out in Swamp Palace or something. So we don't know if we're in for a long one or a quick one yet. We still have a little bit more to see.
I mean, funny you mentioned Swamp Palace. We got Flippers pretty early, and we got Mirror relatively early. It's in here, Thieves Town. I mentioned about how the randomizer does seed the items, so not out of the realm of possibility. We'd like to welcome everyone coming in from the SpeedGaming 3 channel. Thank you for joining us. We got a match between Incoherent and TjMaelstrom. Game 2 of this series, TjMaelstrom up 1-0.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback on your point about Swamp Palace, we were talking about how much items there are in the mountain. They don't have logical access to the mountain yet. And if their logical access that's down here is the lamp, or the lamp, they don't really care about that. They're not going to need that. They already have a fire source. They can do dark rooms. But if it's the flute, they could be in trouble if they skip that because they need that for Misery Mire. So it could be like if they go up to the mountain and they find the lamp, for instance, they know the flute's down here, and that would, unfortunately, there'd be a lot of locations they could get it down here. It could be in Pod, it could be in Swamp Palace, it could be in Ice Palace. So we'll see how that interaction plays out.
Yeah, there are times to gamble the sequence break, and there are times not to. To your point, this is probably not a time to do that, just because of the way that you have two ways to get up the mountain logically. All right, our first boss fight, incoherent and blind. Got a little bit away from the script, but still plenty of health. Just got to dodge these heads and the fireballs they're spitting. No problem on that one. And our first,
that was a nice recovery.
Yeah, definitely. Our first crystal here at 24 minutes 13 seconds for incoherent.
So I think the next play for incoherent seems pretty straightforward. Just go do Skullwoods from the back to front, assuming you're comfortable doing that with 6 hearts and fighter sword, which easy to say when you're on commentary, a lot harder to make that choice when you're playing. You might be going over and doing like some. Oh, he's going to do Sick Kid right now because they haven't checked that yet.
Yep, fresh bottle to do Sick Kid. If he really wanted to, he could at least take the Smith and do a Hammer Peg before going into Skullwoods.
That's it's really nice to get that heart there just before. If you're gonna have to do Fighter Sword Moth, every little heart helps. So you'll appreciate that one from Sick Kid.
Yeah, not wasting time with the overworld checks. Heading up this way, likely to do Skullwoods. Yeah, here we go. It's the name of the game. A, B, C, D. Always be clearing dungeons.
Yeah, especially when you're like these guys and you have already 4 dungeons that you can just clear out that are crystals.
Yeah, and I mean, we have access to Ice Palace at that, which is a green pendant. So if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, they have access to all of the pendant dungeons,
Yeah.
which is kind of scary. I guess technically Palace of Darkness is out of logic because they don't have a lamp, but they can still beat it.
And Swamp they can't beat, no hookshot yet.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you mentioned Skullwoods going back to front. In this situation, you don't want to spend too much time up in the front because only 2 items, and it is a crystal. So maybe you get lucky and the items are on Moth and the bridge, or in that big key location that Incoherent just checked to, and you don't have to do the front.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can do Crystal Skullwoods back to front because you can oftentimes skip out on a lot of the chests. And sometimes if you do the front early, you just don't get anything. The big key's in the back, and then you have to come back to the front anyway to check the big chest again. So it's very nice when you get to do it back to front.
So take an alternate route and has the Smith in tow. Also did a K45 check with the mirror that he found. Not a bad play. You sometimes want to follow that progression, and this is certainly following the progression of what you just found.
Yeah, and these checks are relatively quick. You might pick up some extra little safety for the Moth fight. I mean, you have half magic, so it's not quite as bad as just a regular 6-heart fighter sword, but that fight can go awry with those treadmills and those springs sometimes.
All right, Mothula, not going to be easy if you intend on using that fighter sword, but gonna depend very heavily on that half magic and that.
It's doing a real good job of it so far.
Absolutely. Got to keep him away from the spikes on the end because that can actually cancel out the damage.
Very nice fight.
That last hit with the hammer squishes the Moth for our other 5/6 crystal and a big key. So that does open up the Pyramid Fairy once they head back over to that direction.
Yeah, and with the mirror in tow, it might be worth it to just do that on your way to Eastern. It's going to be a little bit more time having to do a couple mirror transitions and get over there a little bit slower. But might be worth it for these runners.
Going back, still looking for those 2 items. You mentioned on your way to Eastern, which is a crystal dungeon we can do. Do you dip pod while you're over there? You don't have to complete it, but do you dip it?
See, that's another benefit that you can do with the route with the pyramid. You can go over there, do Sah's Hut, do Eastern, and then maybe you get some items that make you think, okay, I don't think I have to do pod. I only need like 1 or 2 more items. Or maybe you get absolutely nothing with from the pyramid and Eastern and Saha, and then you just step right back into your portal and go into pod. So I think that the route that you do is you go over there with the big bomb and go over in the Dark World.
Yeah, a lot of things to consider in any given seed, and sometimes there's easy decisions, sometimes there's gambles you got to take.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like that route I described gives you a lot of checks that you can check in a pretty optimal way. However, the most optimal way to check something is just to not check it. So maybe you decide, okay, I'll lose a little bit of time if I decide I want to check the pyramid and pod later. But if I don't have to check them and I just go right to Eastern, I can save a lot of time. So the runners have a lot of freedom to decide what level of risk they want to tolerate and how much of a gamble they want to take.
The most optimal way to check it is to not check it. I love it.
So Skullwoods is burying its items deep in the front, so unfortunately not much of a time save doing it back to front, but not a time loss either.
Yeah, so, gosh, have we found a single item?
Yeah, the one, TjMaelstrom just showed us a red rupee in the chest underneath that bridge.
The bridge chest, okay. Got 25 rupees in the whole dungeon.
Yeah, not a very loaded pod, or I mean Skullwoods. So let's see where Incoherent decides to go. They can even take, so what they could do actually is do the north route over to pod if they wanted to, but they would kind of miss the big bomb. It would be a little bit slower of a check, but we'll see. They got options.
Well, yeah, you have a lot to check up here. You've already done the south route, so check out the bunker ledge. You could do the graveyard ledge. Bonk rocks are over here.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra checks over here.
King's Tomb. You could take it all the way to Catfish and come back down, but man, Catfish could waste a little bit of time.
Yeah, this is the point where you could decide that maybe you want to take a bit of a gamble. Though both of these runners are probably feeling pretty good. They haven't had any major hiccups yet. And we also might want to focus on Maelstrom's moth fight as he gets it cleanly. Took the potion for a little bit of security, but always hard to do that moth fight with their loadout. So good to see both of these runners manage to get through there without any deaths.
2 crystals apiece for both of our runners. Still a very tight game. It's going to hinge on, maybe who takes a chance and finds that flute first. Once we know the medallions, who finds the right medallions to get into those later dungeons.
Yeah, because we're still wondering what's going to be our access to the mountain. There's like a good portion of the remaining checks in this game are up on the mountain. So we're going to have to get either our lamp or our flute relatively soon. And depending on which one they get, that will kind of dictate. If they get the lamp, then that doesn't really help them very much. But if they were to get the flute, then they also have access to the Misery Mire area. So we'll see how that goes. So we haven't gotten anything from these north Dark World checks. We'll see if he elects to go all the way to Catfish, like you mentioned. No, he's going back. So wonder if maybe he's going to the mountain? At least get the save and quit?
No, he didn't do the Smith chain. He did not have the mirror at that point, right? No, after Thieves Town, he did have the mirror, but he went to Skullwood. So I would say this is maybe Smith, Hammerpeg, and possibly the purple chest.
Yeah, it looks like he's just doing just being thorough here, and then after the south route, he could go up and get the big bomb and go to Eastern, or maybe just go to Eastern. Chat asking why you need mitts and boots. You do not need the mitts and the boots. So how King's Tomb works, to move that tomb, you have to bonk it with the boots. Now, most runners, they do the trick where they hold out their sword, start dashing sideways, and then kind of it assumes you bonked it. But you just need to be able to get to the tomb. You can either get to the tomb by walking over there from the dark world with the mirror, or going from the light world with the Titan's mitts. So you need the boots for sure, and then either the mirror and dark world access or the Titan's mitts.
TjMaelstrom making that that quick check on the lumberjack he did not do earlier.
Yeah, not really going to be a better time to check that than now. Might as well get that off your conscience. And Incoherent is going to grab that purple chest and walk it down to the vendor. So we'll get to see a new check there.
So as long as we're, retreading some ground from each of these runners, let's give a shout out to both of them. Go ahead and give both TjMaelstrom and Incoherent a follow. They're both, very good runners. You have to be to make it into this tournament. Both of them are really great to watch, doing a good show here. Go check them out. And our tracker, Jaxie, is doing a great job keeping us honest, keeping us on task. And my co-commentator, Dane, be sure to give them a follow too.
Yeah, and don't forget my co-com, Lumaga. And we're also seeing a nice little trick by Incoherent over here to check the purple chest, leaving it behind so you can dash. So as long as you get to that guy with your invulnerability frames after mirroring, it will assume you still have the purple chest. So even though the purple chest was very far away, he was able to dash over to that guy and still check it. And looks like Incoherent is going up to that bomb vendor to get the purple bomb, or the red bomb, and then go up to the pyramid, and then probably we'll see Eastern after that.
With the way that the crystals were laid out, it almost had a flashing sign, "Come by this bomb," right after you're done with the west side.
Yeah, we'll see if the pyramid has its normal MO, where whenever it's this easy to check, it tends to be empty. And then the times when it has stuff is when you have to double dip the mountain to go up the Turtle Rock and then come back down, do the bomb. Then that's when it has your go mode item.
Yeah, big thing is, what's the logical access to the mountain? Neither one of these runners want to chance that it's actually going to be flute, and can maybe make some wiser decisions. Two good checks here. There's the flute on the pyramid ledge, speaking of that.
Yeah, so that's a load off their mind. They don't have to worry about, because sometimes when you have your lamp be your logical death mountain access, it'll be somewhere very annoying to check, like Ice Palace. But seeing that flute there, they know they don't have to worry about accidentally sequence breaking away from the flute and then just leaving behind a lot of vocations. They need that flute to finish the game. So very good to see that there. But it looks like TjMaelstrom is taking a different route. I'm wondering if he's just going to go, it looks like he's just going to go in the Dark World portal and do the same thing as Incoherent is doing, because he had already done most of the Smith chain. Didn't do the purple chest, but that turned out being nothing anyway.
Didn't do purple chest, did not do the North Dark World checks of King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge. So not missing anything. That's fine.
Yeah, those checks just weigh on your mind a little bit as the seed goes on, but if he doesn't ever check them, it's just pure time save. Incoherent showing off the intentional mirror bonk to instead of having to do a screen transition, you can save a bit of time to turn in that mushroom there.
Ditching the fairy to get a blue potion. Interesting strategy.
Yeah, I think he figures he's got a decent enough loadout number of hearts. That blue potion for the magic refill, so you get in a pinch in the cannon fight, can really be helpful. Or with Cold Stare also, though. You really hope not to play Cold Stare this match since it's dependent.
Strangely enough, though, I think he had an empty bottle.
Yeah.
No, he's only got one bottle on the tracker. That's right.
Yeah, he got the bottle filled from the one of the ferries that he did. See if Catfish has anything for us today.
Yeah, no, that's the bottle that TjMaelstrom picked up.
Ah, yes. So look, Incoherent's going to go right ahead, turn in this fluid as quick as possible, and then we'll see where he goes from there. If he decides to go pod Eastern, probably there because you'd like to be able to go to the mountain once if possible, but you could buck the mold and go to the mountain right away, too.
I disagree. When you get the flute, you still need to know your medallion set. I say you go to Misery Mire, do the Mire Shed, and just get the intel on what the medallion requirement is.
That's actually a really good point. And they can also full clear desert while they're over there. So yes, that's a very good point.
Yep, there he goes. Over to 6. Not even bothering with Mire just yet. He knows... Nope.
Yeah, they haven't been over to the desert yet, so they're just doing the quick ledge check, and then he'll go over to Mire Shed and desert. That was a really quick check. I have to check the wing stream. I think it was Bombo. I didn't even see it on the restream.
Yeah, if anyone saw it, we'd appreciate the help. As long as Incoherent saw it.
Nice Master Sword pickup. That'll make going through the dungeons a little bit easier. Also give us the ability to defeat Ganon, which is always important. So if you're in the situation Incoherence in, are you hoping to see Ether on Mire with the potential to have to go in there to get an item? Or would you rather see Bombos and just hope that you get the cane before you get that other medallion?
The latter for sure, because if it's Ether, it's still not tempting, but it does make it possible for me to go in there, you know? Because I would hate to double dip it and not wind up with anything.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. Whenever I come over to the Mire area, I want to either be able to full clear it or not go in. I do not like having the ability to go in there and possibly have some sort of double dip required. And it was Quake over there. TjMaelstrom gave us a little bit quicker or a little bit longer of a check.
Well, then if we know it's Quake, I think the only other thing we want to know is the Turtle Rock requirement. Obviously needs Samaria and, logically need the hook shot. So you do have all of the mountain available to you, light and dark, aside from the Ether tablet. You got Tower of Hera up there. I'd say that's got to be high on your priority list.
Yeah, it's kind of like how much do you want to value the possibility that Eastern could have like your Cane of Samaria and you might be able to single dip the mountain for those dungeons if you get it. Having the flute, because there's kind of two things you could do. You could either go up the mountain right away and then you'll know how many items you are when you go to the Pod Eastern area, and that can kind of dictate whether or not you want to walk over there in the Dark World and do Pod if needed. Or you could just go do Eastern really quick. I don't even think either of these runners has done Saj Rala yet. So they've still got a lot of checks over there. It might be worth it to just... Eastern Palace is not a particularly quick go-mode dungeon depending on the big key location. So I think it might be worth it to just go over there, get those items, and then you'll know. Maybe you get lucky, you get the Cane of Samaria, and you can just do even more of the mountain when you get up there. As the Incoherent go into this Lammolas fight, he's got half magic and the fire rod, so You always like to have that set up for the land mold. So the first one given a bit of a short hop to mess with him getting the 1 cycle. Like it's a very quick 2 cycle.
Yeah, you line this up Galaga style and just fire away. Got him down real nicely. And for the moment, we've got a slight advantage, but TjMaelstrom keeping this incredibly close. He is on his way up to Landmo himself.
Yeah, this seed they got a lot of items early and had a lot of locations open to them. Just both of them keep doing the dungeons, following the density within those dungeons, and then the result is you get a very close race so far.
One last check in the Desert Mire area is Checkerboard Cave. Don't want to forget about that while you're over here.
They also have the Agina as well, so I expect them to jump down after this and go over there.
Great point. Oh, there's our lamp.
Yep, so we know for sure the flute was the Dark World or the mountain access, because that is flute locked. TjMaelstrom getting a bit annoyed by that poke. You hate when the masters they get the poke when you're trying to shoot him with a fire rod. Does a lot less damage.
Yep, a few more cycles than Incoherent got, but gets him down nonetheless.
And Agina turns up with just $50, so no real help there.
Yeah, here's the flute. So now, is it going to be Pod Eastern, or is it going to be all of the mountain?
We'll see if the runners decide to make the same decision. It looks like Incoherent's going over to Eastern, and he's going in the light world. Yeah, this makes sense, because I think that what you can do here, you just go, you do Eastern and Saha's hut real quick, and then probably just go up the mountain. You don't even want to think about Pod right now. You're so close to go mode, and you got the whole mountain, a crystal dungeon to do. You're just hoping you don't have to dip any pendants.
Yeah, when you have access to crystal dungeons and a bunch of overworld along the way, yeah, you'd probably take that over pendant dungeons almost any day.
Yeah, and chat pointing out, Incoherent's a little short of pod money. He could have picked up some rupees there, but he should be able to get enough money in Eastern Palace if he had wanted to do that.
Something tells me he's not thinking Palace of Darkness.
Absolutely. You want to avoid pendant pod if possible.
I don't know. I don't know if you've ever heard my mantra. Pendant pod is the play. It always seems to have what you're looking for.
It often does, but when it doesn't, it's just so sweet.
Yeah, it works until it doesn't.
And when the other option you have is the entire mountain, it makes it a little bit easier to avoid the temptation to dip it.
TjMaelstrom also picking the flute to 5 for Eastern, and he's in the Dark World.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he decides to actually dip pod. I expect he'll do Saha's hut in Eastern first, and then make a decision about going to pod afterwards.
Now, he's certainly got the money to enter this, and he'll be the first one to check out Sahasrara with a mirror check over here.
And we saw the Ice Rod in the Eastern Palace big chest on Incoherent side, so that's another item they needed for go mode. So now all we need, Cane of Samaria, Quake, and Bombos if it's required with Eternal Rock. Otherwise, just Cane of Samaria and Quake. And Hookshot for the getting past GT.
Likely Hookshot, yes.
Unless these runners want to try Moldorm bouncing.
Yeah, I'm not sure of either of their skill in hovering or Moldorm bouncing. So I'll just assume that we need the Hookshot.
Yes, a very safe assumption.
All right, 5 items in Palace of Darkness, and could go all the way to the end of this if he wants to. Let's see how far he takes this.
Yeah, he's deciding to do, or maybe he is going to change his mind and do Eastern before pod. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good call. It's a crystal dungeon. It's a sure thing rather than gambling on something that may or may not pay out.
Yeah, and I think if you get the Cane of Samaria here, for instance, it can really change your calculus as to if you want to do pod or not, because that opens up all of Turtle Rock but Trinex, in addition to the entire mountain, and even Misery Mire as well. Well, you need the Quake Medallion too, but it gives you a good amount of progression.
Incoherent all the way to the back. About to pick up this last. Is it the last item? I think we found 2.
I only remember the ice rod, but I think you're right because we got the map in the vanilla big key chest, so Armless should have an item.
Okay. Yeah, so there's an item, interesting strategy to kill him, gets him down nonetheless, and 1 more crystal in the books.
Yeah, we're just flying through these crystal dungeons. We've had them open to us, and we haven't really gotten. We got the ice rod in the mirror, I guess, from these, but most of the progression that they got was just in the overworld. TjMaelstrom will go over and get his ice rod, and we'll see Incoherent check the Sahasrala's closet that TjMaelstrom already checked. We did get the magic powder, which will be a nice little safety for climbing GT. These runners are not going to want to check the magic bat anytime soon, so I would not expect to see that unless they get into a terrible medallion hunt.
No, it's all about clearing dungeons at this point. Forget about forget about all these one-off checks you can do. And the old man, even if he does not give you anything, is a valuable save point. You can always save and quit to the old man, get a full refill of health, and it's actually the quickest save and quit spot to start from, and get the flute out, get anywhere you want.
Yeah, we'll see if they actually have to utilize it at all to see, because they're already so deep in it. They could possibly get go mode on the mountain and then just have to go down to Misery Mire and come back up. But yeah, so like you said, always very useful to have the mountain save and quit. And we're also seeing TjMaelstrom collect the same crystal that Incoherent just got. So he'll likely be following. We'll see if he decides to go back into pod or if he just goes right up the mountain.
There's the pod play.
All right, so we're getting some nice divergence from our runners. This could be huge if something like Quake Medallion is in Palace of Darkness.
Cane of Samaria is also out there. Hookshot also is there too.
Yeah, I think the hookshot of all of those might be the worst, because if, say, you find the Cane of Samaria and Quake Medallion up here, you're just going to clear all your dungeons really quick, and who knows when you get back to pod for the hookshot.
Two items in a crystal versus 5 items and a pendant, which may or may not be valuable. I'm trying to think. I think there's nothing we can really have on pedestal at this point.
Yeah, we have Quake Medallion could be up there, and there's a chance we could get Cane of Samaria if Ice Palace's key layout is proper. But we have to also get the hookshot before we can even think of that. The Incoherent getting his nice little break over here in the tile room, and TjMaelstrom only finding dungeon items in the front of pod. Check the Bowlock side. And
that happens, right? There's a minimum of 4 keys at the front of Palace of Darkness.
And he got the map, so there's only one, possibly at most 1 item over here. almost all keys in the front of pod today. 5 keys in the map, it looks like.
All that means is we are loaded in the back of Palace of Darkness. Plenty of chances to get one of those progression items.
Yeah, and they got that lamp, which I guess I don't even know if it didn't lead to anything because Eastern was not lamp locked. You could have done that with a fire rod, and that lamp was locked by the mirror, so it could be that lamp leads us to something. We'll have to see because that dark maze is locked by the map, or not the map, the lamp.
There's another 20. Could have been our silvers. Could have been our armor. Leaving that basement with 2 keys tells us that Harmless Hellway has a key itself, so not going to check that one.
Yeah, nice awareness by TjMaelstrom to be counting the keys and not have to waste any time doing an extra check.
That's 4. 4 items in Palace of Darkness. No progression.
Just been a lot of love so far.
That last item is on Helmazor. Not going to check it. So Incoherent now with his 5th crystal of the game. Yep, just going to check out the rest of the mountain while TjMaelstrom heads his way up there.
Yeah, no, didn't get any help. Incoherent didn't get any item-based help from Tower of Hera, but you need to get that crystal, and he's got plenty of other locations to check to see what items we'll get. And meanwhile, TjMaelstrom's following in his footsteps, probably going to do all the same stuff Incoherent's doing over here.
Okay, I thought that was rupees. I saw a number. It's 300 rupees up on that floating island.
Yeah. We'll see what our Turtle Rock medallion is today. See if it's Quake or Ether, or if we're also gonna have to get Bombo's tablet this seed or medallion.
So it is Ether. We're just looking for that Quake medallion. Bamos is just a nice little shiny prize.
Yep. So we'll see if Incoherent can get his Cane of Samaria up here, and we'll be able to go into Turtle Rock, or if we're gonna have to go down and look for that. So I think if you're in Incoherent or TjMaelstrom spot, you're really hoping to not find only Quake medallion up here, because that would mean that Samaria is somewhere down on the mountain, and it could be in Misery Mire, and you definitely do not want that situation.
Well, we do have the first check here in, well, we've got Paradox, of course, but we do have the first check in Hookshot Cave and Spiral Cave here. Spike Cave is still technically out of logic, I think, because we don't have an invincibility item.
Yeah, Incoherent has a potion, I believe. One of them has a potion, one of them has a fairy. I believe it's Incoherent with the potion and TjMaelstrom with the fairy. So they both could elect to sequence break this if they so choose.
Yeah, TJ actually putting off Tower of Hera first, going to check Paradox Cave. Pretty good idea, because there's a lot of items over here he can check before heading into the tower.
Yeah, it's the possibility that you could possibly get the hook shot, be able to go-mo Tower of Hera on your way to Ganon's Tower with Hera Pot. It's a pretty attractive option if you don't end up needing those 2 items that are in there.
Oh, there's the cape. There's Spike Cave Logic. Logical access.
Seeing a bit of a high five over here in Paradox Cave.
Interesting. We got the hook shot and some money, some shield. What else we got? Just some rupees and bombs. But that hook shot, that's one we needed.
Yep, so with the hook shot here, that's very nice. They won't have to double dip and worry about getting hook shot cave later. But it also puts it in logic for us to beat Swamp Palace now. So I believe that now the pedestal is fully in logic. So you've always got that concern. I'm sure chats we're rooting for Kane of Samaria on the pedestal.
My goodness, wouldn't that be something?
This seed was so fast for so long, but they can always come back to get you. You don't until you beat Ganon, you can't really call the seed fast.
Yeah, so now we can finish out all of Hookshot Cave. 4 items, just a little bit of junk so far. The book, okay. There's one more location here on the mountain we can check.
That book location is pretty good as far as, like, you don't really not see the book, but it's good to get it up here because at least you're not going to leave without getting Ether Tablet. It also makes the Spike Cave check a little bit more nice to do because now there's another check over here. Just a fire shield on Ether Tablet, so looks like Incoherent's going to go over to Spike Cave, see what's in there. And then you'll have a bunch of options if this is not the Cane of Samaria, because there's a lot of pendant dungeons available. There's some other overworld that they have not checked yet, so we'll have to see where they go. I would probably do a pendant dungeon, but I'm also not in this tournament, so it'll be interesting to see what these runners do.
How much overworld is there left, actually?
We got Magic Bat. I can't remember which. I don't think like one of these runners did not do the purple chest. I can't remember if that was Incoherent or TjMaelstrom.
I think Incoherent skipped the purple chest.
Yeah, so there's not much. They also have Bombo's tablet.
Yeah, so we are running out of some overworld checks, and they're getting more and more isolated.
Looks like Incoherent's going over for Magic Bat first.
Yeah. Lovely.
Just curses us with love today, so no help there from the bat. So now we'll have to see where Incoherent goes. I'm sure chat's rooting for the pedestal check while he's in this area, but probably other things to do.
So here's that Harapot setup you were talking about on TjMaelstrom's end. He is setting up the single bomb strat.
Very nice, second try. You always are. Can you hold your breath a bit because you can soft lock there, but nice to see that not happen.
And Incoherent taking that book, not wanting to take a chance. He's going to check the pedestal, make sure he knows what his next plan of attack is. So let's get it ready for the ped hype. That's the Cane of Samaria.
All right, so we know exactly what Incoherent's going to do. He's going to go through and beat these dungeons. And it's definitely a good play to check pedestal there because the densest locations left here are the pendant dungeons. So you want to know, okay, if I go to pod and get 5 items, do I have to go beat Helmasaur or not? And Incoherent knows the answer is absolutely you do.
So TjMaelstrom's dip into pod was worthwhile, right? But unfortunately, Incoherent is likely to, go mode it. Well, no, actually, he still needs a Quake Medallion.
Yeah, and the big key is not in a nice location.
Yeah.
So yeah, the main loss is just a little bit. So it shouldn't be just a little bit from the double dip, but it's not going to be too huge on TjMaelstrom's side. Hopefully, he goes over and has the same idea and finds out about Cane of Samaria on the pedestal. So of the 2 items that could have been on the pedestal, you never want to see it, but you would definitely rather see the cane than the Quake medallion, because then that's just putting off, okay, where's the Cane of Samaria going to be? It could still be in Misery Mire. So of the 2 options, at least they got the slightly nicer one.
I mean, ped is ped. I don't know if it's ever truly nice.
Oh yeah, so you're picking your poison and just getting a slightly better flavor.
So yeah, it does depend on how quickly. Oops, missed the bird. It does depend on how quickly TjMaelstrom gets that intel. He's going to be diving Ice Palace anyway. You know, it does have 3 items. Does have the green pendant. You need that pendant anyway, though he doesn't know that.
Yeah. So the one thing, so you don't really like to do Ice Palace without the cane because you can't Icebreaker, but we know he would never be able to do it with the cane because that's on the pedestal. You got to kind of hope for TjMaelstrom's sake, though, that the item layout is not particularly nice, because you really want to have him beat Cold Stare here. You don't want to have him leave after getting 3 items and then check the pedestal and realize, oh, I need to go back in here and beat Cold Stare.
It's a green pendant. I think Cold Stare is already predestined here.
That's true. And that also explains why he wanted to do this one first, despite the fact that Swamp Palace has more items.
Lots of 20 green rupees coming up. So that some of that's got to be our health. We do have a maximum of 14 in hard mode.
Yeah. So if you're TjMaelstrom and you find Quake Medallion here in Ice Palace, Luango, what do you do?
You check the items. I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Because he could go. He doesn't know the Cane of Samaria is on pedestal. So if he gets the Quake Medallion, now Misery Mire is open to him. He has to choose between Misery Mire or Pendant Swamp.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, in that case, you follow what you get. If you get that Quake Medallion, he already knows that it's Quake to enter Misery Mire. I would probably go into that, not knowing that Samaria is on the ped.
Yeah, so I guess if you're a fan of TjMaelstrom, you're kind of hoping that Ice Palace is empty.
Lining up the classic bomb jump. You don't see this too much these days because Cane of Samaria has become kind of a staple of Ice Palace, but with no, Icebreaker's become a staple of Ice Palace, but with no cane, you have to resort to the old tactics.
Yep, for sure. You definitely still want to know how to do that Ice Palace bomb jump. Like you'll do Icebreaker most of the time, but there's still a pretty significant amount of time where going in here and doing the Ice Palace bomb jump is the play. And something else I thought about that will be nice about TjMaelstrom doing Ice Palace early is that he will be able to see that Cold Stare is not Cane of Samaria locked, so that might make him realize that there's a possibility that Cane could be on the pad.
You got to pay attention to those kind of details, and that'll help you read the seed a little bit better.
Yeah, because maybe TjMaelstrom, he realized that and like, okay, I can go over and do. I'm wanting to do pedant dungeons, and there still could be something on the pedestal I need. But instead of checking pedestal, I can just go to Ice Palace, and it'll tell me there's a possibility that Ice Palace just tells me no, Cane of Samaria is not on the pedestal. And we'll also get to see the last item of Palace of Darkness on Incoherent side as he's going over and making his way to the King Helmasaur.
If it's Quake, boy, was TjMaelstrom so close to that.
Yeah. And we'll get to see a lot of fast dungeons in that case if Incoherent finds Quake Medallion in here.
I think we're about to see, maybe not quite. I thought we might see some dueling boss fights here. Still one more item to check for TjMaelstrom and Ice Palace. Got to do the Ice Tea Room.
And just the compass over there, so I think Cold Stare may have an item in this case. Incoherent entering his Helmosaur fight, so with the loadout he's got, this should be pretty straightforward. We'll see how quickly he's able to dispatch the Helmosaur King. Able to get rid of the Helmosaur King without too much trouble, and now Incoherent's got his first pendant, and he's gonna have to go get 2 more of them before he can start worrying about more crystals.
And it is not Quake, so we are going to see a little bit more thoroughness in these next few dungeons. Ice Palace has already been covered, so Swamp Palace, the only one where we might have to dip all the way to the left side.
And we're seeing TjMaelstrom show off a little bit of cool tech. If you shoot the Fire Rod and then hit the Cold Stare Ice with Sword Beam at the correct time, the game will think that that Sword Beam was a Fire Rod shot, and you'll get to save a bit of your magic. And you see TjMaelstrom take advantage of that, able to get a few extra Fire Rod shots on Cold Stare.
Yeah, definitely time for TjMaelstrom to pull out as much tech as he can and save the time that he's able to. Green pendant in hand, you go all the way to earn that. You don't know what pedestal is yet. You got to turn that in right away.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to check to see maybe you get your Cane of Samari here. Can go over and Turtle Rocks in play, or you get your Quake and Misery Mires in play. And then we'll have to see where he decides to go after this, and it probably depends what he gets from this green pendant.
Today is just 50 rupees.
Yeah, I think TjMaelstrom could have gotten a little bit more for that green pendant on the open market, so Saha's being a bit cheap today.
I don't know. Maybe Sahasrara. I think he knows what the value of a green pendant is. He's seen a few in his day.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it wasn't in very good condition. It was a little cold.
So Swamp Palace. TjMaelstrom has already gone through the other 2 pendant dungeons. This is the only one left to do. So, you know, knowing that Cane of Samaria is on the pedestal, right? He doesn't, but this could change his routing. He may have gone straight to Argus and just grabbed that pendant. But not knowing where either Cane nor Quake is, he might full clear this first.
Yeah, and I think that we'll probably see both runners full clear this, because in terms of item density, there's 6 items in here. And we know Quake Medallion has to be somewhere in the world. I guess it could still be in Turtle Rock behind this Cane of Samaria. That's the other dense location that's left. But there's a pretty decent shot that Quake Medallion is in Swamp Palace, which, again, will raise that same question for TjMaelstrom. Do you get pulled over to Mire by that, or do you make the play to check the pedestal? And like you said, I think you're probably going to go to Misery Mire.
Well, there's also the possibility that Quake is in Turtle Rock.
Yes, that's the other. Yep. It's kind of if you look at the number of chests left in the game, it's Swamp Palace probably got like 40% chance of having it, and then Turtle Rock's got a little bit lower, and then there's just a few one-off checks that they haven't done that they could do. For TjMaelstrom's sake, I'm hoping that Quake Medallion's not in here. He'll walk out of here, 2 pendants in hand, decide to go over and check the pedestal because he knows he's got 1 item on King Helmosaur plus 1 item on the pedestal. And then we'll realize that he needs to go beat King Helmosaur, and we'll have a nice tight race on our hands.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this race is tight as it is, right? TjMaelstrom's on a mission to find these items. Whether or not he puts off pedestal, he's still going to be clearing most of this, and he is going straight to the back, not chancing on left side just yet.
Yeah, it makes sense because he's looking for a certain amount of. He's only looking for a few items. Maybe he gets the item back here. He'll lose a bit of time coming back to do left side if he has to, but if he were to find both of his items here, he'd save a lot of time by not doing it. And yeah, like you were saying, TjMaelstrom definitely, he's still not even, I wouldn't even say he's behind it all right now. He's behind in knowledge, but he could just get that knowledge before he ends up doing something that loses him time. So definitely still a very tight race.
Big key on the waterfall chest is always one where, you wonder if the runner is going to go back for that big chest.
Yeah, I think in TjMaelstrom's case, he probably will, unless he gets Quake Medallion from Argus. So that'll, again, may even mitigate the time loss of Incoherent, where to not have to go back for left side swamp and just do it right away.
I mean, 2 items. I think that left side is kind of priced in anyway, just without that knowledge that Kane is on pedestal.
Yeah, it really just depends if they were to. I guess we already know that it can't be anywhere else but left side or Argus or big chest at this point. TjMaelstrom making pretty quick work of the Argus puffs, and get to take down the main Argus soon. And also we see another boss fight on Incoherent side. Got a little bit, the puffs got a little bit away from him, but so this is always a dangerous fight. So hopefully Incoherent's able to salvage it. It looks like he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, once you get rid of 2, it's pretty easy to dodge that last one.
Yeah, always kill them. You don't want to spread your damage equally if they're spread out. You want to divide and conquer them. Simultaneous pendants by both people, and we'll see TjMaelstrom probably going to go back in there. Yeah, and then Incoherent's probably going to just follow TjMaelstrom, go right in the swamp.
And then the question, does TjMaelstrom first go to Helmasaur, pick up that last item he missed, which we know is not progression, and then with all 3 pendants in hand, just do a blind ped, luck out on that Cane of Samaria?
I think that's a really good point, because he doesn't have very many good locations left, assuming he doesn't find Quake Medallion in left side. So if he's already thinking about checking the pedestal, well, why not? If there's 2 options, either we're going to check the pedestal and have to get that item from Helmasaur anyway, or we just do Helmasaur and pull it right away. I think you got a really good point there.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, no reason to check it, knowing that you probably have to come back here anyway, and you're going to do Helmasaur one way or the other.
And we'll probably, if these runners don't get Quake Medallion, I think they're going to go over to Bombo's Tablet, because there's just really no other good time to route that in. And that's one of their few overworld checks they got left. Looks like Incoherent's going to go over there first, and I agree with this play a lot, because he's saying, okay, either it's in Swamp Palace, yeah, we lose a bit of time in that case, okay. But if it's over here, we can just go mode Swamp. We don't have to do any of the left side. So it's kind of like, and if it wasn't in Swamp, you're going to check this anyway. So the only way you lose is if Quake Medallion is really early in Swamp. And we're just getting the bug catching net, not what we're looking for today.
Still got our last few checks here up in Swamp Palace. Left side swamp sometimes pays off.
Oh, it's Quake Medallion.
It paid off. So he's still going to check this last one for the Cane of Samaria. Not going to be there. We know it's not. But great move to be thorough in checking this. Now, does he follow that to Misery Mire?
And if he does, we got to wonder, how quick of a Misery Mire is this? Because if the Misery Mire big key is in an inconvenient location, then this double dip won't be as bad. But if it's in the bridge chest or something, then that would be pretty bad.
Yeah, here comes the flute. If he goes to 6, this is a Mire play. No, it's 3. What's this now?
Let's see if he makes the play up to the pedestal or just does the magic bat. So this could be really big for TjMaelstrom.
So we had both remaining medallions in Swamp Palace. One at the start, one at the end.
Yep, very nice for them. It was the Bombos was just a preview of things to come later in the dungeon. TjMaelstrom's pulling out his flute, so unless he flutes back to that same spot, he's probably not going to do that pedestal check. And he does, so this is looking like a pedestal check, which would be really big for TjMaelstrom. He'd be right back in it.
This is not the fastest way to the pedestal. Oh, okay. I thought he was like going to Dark World for some reason. Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe he forgot a chest, but I think he did purple chest. Probably just a little bit of autopilot, like you're used to going into that entrance, and you're thinking about so much stuff.
Yep, exactly. Either way, he's going to get that knowledge. Canis Samaria is on pedestal. He has 2 of those 3 medallions, and before he does anything in Misery Mire, he'll be headed to Helmasaur, get that last pendant.
Yeah, it's a really nice play by TjMaelstrom, and you can see the thought process. He's saying, okay, there's 2 items in Misery Mire, but there's also 2 items in Pod if you count the pedestal and the item on Pod. So it's really a 50-50. And if I make the 50-50 where I check the pedestal, okay, I lose a little bit of time checking the pedestal, that's okay. But if I go in full clear Mire and it's a God Mire, I'm going to lose so much time to my opponent. So it's nice, a nice little bit of defensive play there. So really nice to see.
Yeah, always be thinking, what is the next thing you're going to do? And you always have to change that on the fly. So TjMaelstrom, probably very quickly changed his mind at some point, saying, let me check pedestal just to get it out of the way. And once he saw that was the cane, he knew what to do.
Yeah, and now we're shifting the bit of pressure from TjMaelstrom to Incoherent. Incoherent has not done left side swamp, and he will have his Cane of Samaria, so he's going to have an even more tempting gamble. Do I just gamble, skipping the 2 items that are left in Swamp Palace, and go to Turtle Rock, or do I be thorough and see if Quake Medallion is in the left side? Because if he doesn't get that Quake Medallion and risks Turtle Rock, granted, Turtle Rock's not a particularly fast go-mode dungeon, so he might not lose that much time there, but he would lose the mountain climb because he'd have to climb to Turtle Rock first before doing Mire, or he could decide to just do left side swamp now. But for now, we should probably focus on this fight. Incoherent also doing a pretty good job dispatching these Argus Puffs. Unfortunately, gets the last bit of time for that cycle, but he's going to go for the quick kill with the Fire Rod.
Oh, he dodged. Argus dodged that Fire Rod.
Yeah, when you have Master Sword, and you can kind of psych yourself out knowing you have to get an extra Fire Rod shot rather than when you're used to with a Tempered Sword.
All right, moment of truth for Incoherent. 2 items left, or pull that pedestal, chance on Turtle Rock. And we know the Quake Medallion is over on left side swamp, and that is required for Misery Mire.
Looks like he's going away. So this wouldn't be over for Incoherent as long as he comes back to swamp, left side swamp relatively quickly, though. It will be a big time loss. So you got to think TjMaelstrom's got a nice little lead going on here just because of this decision.
Oh yeah, after this, he is in go mode, picking up that cane, 2 dungeons where he could very quickly finish. Incoherent is going to have to double dip Turtle Rock. But I can completely understand where Incoherent is coming from.
Absolutely. There's 6 items up on Turtle Rock. When you count Mimic Cave, there's only 2 in Left Side Swamp, so he's just playing the percentage play. Okay, there's 8 checks left other than some random one-off overworld. And they might even have any left now at this point. And so it's 6 versus 2. That's like a 2. It's like 75-25 in that case. So totally makes sense. So we'll see TjMaelstrom following in Incoherent's footsteps, going over to the pedestal to get his Cane of Samaria. Unlike Incoherent, though, he'll be going over to Misery Mire first and clearing that, so he'll only have to climb the mountain 1 time to finish Turtle Rock and win this and go into Gan's Tower.
Yeah, and finishing with Turtle Rock, it's just a hop over there. Incoherent going to finish with Misery Mire and have an extra mountain climb baked in. Well, chat wants a ped seed. They get a ped seed. Here it comes, the Cane of Samaria. That is go mode for TjMaelstrom at 1:25:13.
Yep, just getting a couple of quick, well, maybe quick, depending on how the big key to Misery Mire decides to be, but some relatively quick dungeons, and then off the Ganon's Tower. And it's interesting to think just how the way this seed really hung in the balance right there in Swamp Palace, because TjMaelstrom, he's 2 items away from go mode, so it's much easier for him to think, okay, one of those could be in left side. Whereas Incoherent, he's only 1 away because he knows the cane is on the pedestal. So there's the knowledge difference really played a part in how this seed played, and then TjMaelstrom just had the presence of mind to decide to check the pedestal and not risk dipping Mire without the cane. So it's pretty exciting to see those sort of decisions where you can really decide your race.
Trying to come up with some scenarios here where Incoherent closes this gap, right? There's still 2 swords out here. We've only found 2 swords of the 4. That last one is going to turn into green rupees, but a tempered sword would certainly help in both Turtle Rock and Misery Mire. So if Incoherent finds it first, that might be a bit of a Ganon's Tower routing also becomes a factor.
Yeah, for instance, there could be a laser bridge sword that TjMaelstrom skips and Incoherent gets. And we could also have just some different big key placement in Ganon's Tower. So if Incoherent, upon beating Turtle Rock, goes over to Swamp Palace, left side, and gets those items, which is a fairly reasonable play, even though he skipped it earlier because he just doesn't have that much left. I can't even think of anything. I can't remember. I think Incoherent did skip the purple chest, but I can't think of anything else.
I think we got a note from chat that both of them did do the purple chest. So if we missed it, well, oops.
Yeah, so if given that, there's not even that much. I can't even think of any overworld that he hasn't done yet. I guess they could get like the shovel up here and then check that, but I think he'll be drawn to left side swamp. And we're seeing a quick big key placement for Misery Mire, which is great for both runners because there's no chance of Incoherent not being in go mode when he goes to Misery Mire, because all he needs is entry to Misery Mire and he's in go mode. Though this check here could also be a bit. It could either be if he gets a sword here, it could save some time for Incoherent, but it also is just going to be a bit of a time loss because TjMaelstrom's not going to be checking Mimic Cave.
Yeah, it's kind of a wash at that point. And TjMaelstrom doing one of my favorite moves. You know, pull the cape out. Oh, he's actually doing sword spins. My preferred move is to just keep slashing. When you slash with the cape, it actually does not drain magic as you're slashing your sword.
Yeah, with the half magic, he's able to get all the spins off and kill all the eyeball puffs. But when you don't have half magic, yeah, that's swiping with the Master Sword and saving your magic is really nice. And we did see Incoherent get Tempered Sword in Mimic Cave, so that's something that could really help him on this route because it's not incredibly likely TjMaelstrom will check that. It's possible because he's on Master Sword. But he may just elect to skip that, thinking that it's more likely there's swords in GT.
Yeah, you go for the crystal at this point. You're not stopping for Mimic Cave. That's 2 mirror transitions and a couple of screens too. So TjMaelstrom not going to get that. Maybe we'll see where that 4th sword is if it's in GT.
Yeah, pretty likely it's in GT at this point. I guess it could be in Misery Mire, but the runners have checked so much of this game already.
We did find a shovel, I think, in Misery Mire. So it could be on Shovel Spot. Who knows? TjMaelstrom, though, with 6 crystals, just can go mode Turtle Rock. He's clearly in the driver's seat at this point.
Yep, definitely he's going to have we'll be able to time the lead when Incoherent decides to go over to left side swamp. But yeah, definitely a clear lead for TjMaelstrom, but not an unapproachable lead, I guess. Incoherent could still come back here. The Tempered Sword that Incoherent got will also help on this Trinex fight as well. So we'll get to see him go into this Trinex fight with Tempered Sword, and that makes the fight just a lot quicker. Not having to worry about either taking way too many swipes with the Master Sword or using the hammer.
Yeah, the pattern is actually pretty quick. You shoot the rod, you hit 3 times. You shoot the rod again, you hit twice. And in between that second shot and those 2 swipes, you got to switch to the fire rod to get that second head down.
Yep, Incoherent pulling it off pretty nicely. The ice head did get to spray some ice, but not looking like it's going to cause any trouble here. It's the nice quick kill on the snake part of Trinex.
Yeah, very quick Trinex fighter, Incoherent.
We'll have to see if that green 20 was a sword when TjMaelstrom does this. But with maxed hearts, it's very likely that it's a heart piece or a heart container. And Incoherent now has his 6th crystal. Let's see where he goes. Hopefully he goes to left side swamp so that he'll be able to get up to Misery Mire quickly.
Yeah, that's a flute to 4. I think there's nowhere else for him to go but left side swamp.
Yeah, there's just nowhere left in the overworld to go. So unfortunately, he's realizing that he skipped it in left side swamp, but who knows? There's GT is a wild place. The key could be where the key could be could save a lot of time. Just general execution could save a lot of time. So once these runners enter GT, we'll know just how much of a lead Incoherent has to make up, but it's still possible.
Look, it's a God Mire, so he's not going to spend a whole lot of time in Misery Mire, Incoherent. And TjMaelstrom's still on Master Sword, which is going to be a lot longer of a Ganon fight than the Tempered Sword Incoherent has. So this is still not a done deal.
Absolutely, especially if TjMaelstrom remains on Master Sword, he's going to lose 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes on the Ganon fight. And if Incoherent can get through Misery Mire really quick, it's possible that he's only behind by a mountain climb and some change. So we'll see how this goes.
You've also got unpredictable things like a Ganon fall or something, which would certainly put TjMaelstrom at a little bit of a disadvantage temporarily.
And with that big key placement in Turtle Rock, you're not really going to save much time go-moding it. Just get to skip Mimic Cave and perhaps some Laser Bridge chests, depending on when you get the key. Looks like he is going down there. Probably just for the big chest, but we'll see. Maybe he decides to check Mimic Cave on the way because he knows that he needs a key, so you check the big chest here.
Yeah, my guess is he's just playing it safe, not risking the keys on Laser Bridge, and hoping this is a key.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not. All right, Incoherent has flooded this room, ready to go get that Quake Medallion on left side swamp. If you're tuning in, we had a pedestal seed where Cane of Samaria was on the pedestal, and the other item we were searching for was the Quake Medallion. It is in left side swamp. Incoherent about to get it now, and we'll be able to open up Misery Mire for his 7th crystal.
Yeah, this game really hinged on the choice. Both runners were in Swamp Palace. Incoherent knew the Cane of Samaria was on the pedestal. TjMaelstrom did not. So TjMaelstrom full cleared Swamp Palace. Incoherent did not. And then TjMaelstrom faced with the choice between entering Mire without the cane or checking the pedestal and then clearing pod to get the cane. Chose to check pedestal and was able to get his Cane of Samaria and get his go mode.
I think TjMaelstrom just was going to check out for that last sword. Has the key, so he can finish this out. Hammer Trinex is not, the easiest thing, but he's got enough health to get through. And
yeah, the powder really coming in the clutch this dungeon. He's been able to powder a few times, and just it's so nice to have powder through Turtle Rock and GT. Because Trinex he has at 6 hearts. Trinex's appendages do 4 hearts. If you hit his body, it only does 1 heart. But things can go awry, and you can get hit twice by the heads.
Okay, so he's pulling out a little bit of a different strat for this. You dash behind, and you can reach it with the hammer pretty easily.
Yeah, that was really nice because it's not the easiest to hit him from on top with the hammer. So really nice to see that on TjMaelstrom's side.
Yeah, the hammer hitbox is a very strange thing. If anyone can figure it out, right, please let me know. But hammering the body, getting Trinex down in just a second, we got ourselves a little game to play.
Yep, there's 22 locations in Ganon's Tower basement where the big key to Ganon's Tower can be. Go ahead and post a number between 1 and 22 where which chest you think will have the big key. And if you guess right, you'll win some internet points, which is always important.
I love internet points. And I'm going to say number 2. Very early for this one.
You're being nice to the runners. I like to pick 14, and I'm just going to stick with that number. So that normally, depending on the routing, can end up in random room, sometimes a little later, but that's where I'm going to pick.
I think I'm hoping for Hope Room with number 2. But along with that big key, right, TjMaelstrom's still on Master Sword, so maybe he'll find a 4th sword along the way. Not too many other places it could be other than Ganon's Tower.
Yes, there's the shovel in the one location in Mire. So we're seeing TjMaelstrom entering in at about 138. He'll be in GT. So we'll be able to see just how much time Incoherent will have to make up with his sword advantage and just maybe a bit of better routing to the GT big key.
All right, starting with the Hope Room start. 1 and 2, nothing, but we do get a small key, and that does open up the Compass Room for TjMaelstrom.
Yeah, a lot of runners, they like to check the Hope Room first, and then if they get a key, they go over and do the Compass Room. Otherwise, they go over to the left side. And it looks like TjMaelstrom is electing to do that strategy. Incoherent, having the Tempered Sword, is getting to show off a different strategy with the cape for Argus, where you just use the cape and dash through him.
TjMaelstrom took a little bit too long on this, and the torches in this room burnt out, actually.
And he missed the second torch this time, so he's gonna... A little bit of time that Incoherent will be able to catch up. But luckily he's able to get it back and still get dashed through that door. So that was really big, not having to do another cycle of lighting the torches.
And every little move here gives Incoherent a chance to catch up. So TjMaelstrom is not finished yet. Incoherent knows that if he's looking at the race time room. There is number 1, 2, 3. That's number 4. Chest number 4 has our big key today. So congratulations, King of Spies, who guessed number 3, but we play Price is Right rules, so congratulations. Enjoy your internet points.
Yes, very nice. So we got a nice early big key of TjMaelstrom's route really paying off, and we'll see if Incoherent decides to do that route, because there are some other routes that do not get to that chest quite as quickly. So we'll see what Incoherent decides to do as he's starting to get up to his GT climb. So I think the guessing game actually will let you get, if you guess high, then it will give it to you if you're the closest. I don't know if they've changed it, but I did see someone win with a guess of 24 once when it was number 22.
That is true. 22 is the highest chest number you can get, but we have had wins at 23 and 24.
Yeah, I think one of the times someone in chat was answering a different question when the answer was 24, and the big key guessing game took that.
Yep. Well.
So it looks like Incoherent's going to be coming into GT about 2 minutes behind, but with the Tempered Sword, depending on how the Ganon fight and the Gauntlet goes for these runners, definitely not over.
No, absolutely not. But TjMaelstrom, who is firmly in the Gauntlet here, making quick work of these Zizzaxes.
Absolutely. You love to see these runners the thought part of the run is over. Now you just got to go through and get through these last few kill rooms. And it's all on execution from here.
And Incoherent also starting with the Hope Room. Is he going to take that key to the Compass Room? He is. So, don't look now. We've got a race. This is all down to execution.
Absolutely. So we've been seeing a lot of good execution from TjMaelstrom in this gauntlet. We'll see how Incoherent fares when he starts his gauntlet.
All right, the Wizrobe 2 room goes flawlessly for TjMaelstrom.
Yeah, it's always nice when you first learn that strategy. I have no idea how I dealt with that room before I started watching this.
Yeah, when I first started playing Randomizer, you use the same strats that I used as a 9-year-old, and yeah, I didn't do so well. Yeah, I had to really kind of pay attention to these runners, these higher tier runners, in order to realize, oh, there's some strategies to this.
Yeah, so Master Sword versus Tempered, it really depends on the runner's skill, but a minute and a half or so seems reasonable. Maybe a bit on the higher end with the minute and a half. Really depends on how your Ganon fight goes. Like if you miss the torch glitch and have Tempered versus Master, it's a very nice time save comparatively. Yeah,
plenty of things still to happen here. TjMaelstrom looking for that last sword in the pre-Moldorm chest. I would not be surprised if he opens up the post-Moldorm chest too.
Yeah, that's how it's in these hard standard races. A lot of times, it's not worth it to open these chests at the top of a GT because there's not much help for you up here. The only thing that he can get right now is the other sword, so definitely worth opening.
It wasn't a sword. It was either health or silvers or armor, which we're not going to get.
Yep. So we'll see TjMaelstrom go into his Aghanim fight. Meanwhile, Incoherent is starting his gauntlet. So we'll get to see a bit more execution from these guys. TjMaelstrom's going to get a nice little geometry lesson.
Geometry or agonometry?
Well, we'll have to ask Agonometry if that one counted as a triple or a double. But either way, it was a nice first cycle. So it looks like he's got either 4 or 5 in him, depending on that first one with a triple. And I don't know if that was a double, so we'll never know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point. Aghanim 2 is dead, and we are on to face Ganon for TjMaelstrom, looking to close out this series.
And Incoherent's entering his Lamola's fight, so we'll see. Getting caught up by them, but still able to get rid of the first 2, and just needs to get rid of this this last one.
Now with the Master Sword, TjMaelstrom is going to have to do spins in order to damage Ganon. There is no way he can slash like Incoherent will be able to. Yep,
Ganon is immune to any damage less than Tempered Sword, and Master Sword spins do the same as Tempered Sword, so he's able to get some in. Getting some nice double spins up in that corner there, so see... Starting phase 2, so we just got to get 12 more spins on him here, and then we'll get to the warping phase.
Yep, still has its spear, so you know that he's still in phase 2.
Yeah, and that cape coming in the clutch for TjMaelstrom. These first 2 phases can be pretty tough with the Master Sword because you're just bouncing away so far on your spins. But he's got to be careful. I don't know if he has any safeties left.
I was just going to ask, what is his bottle situation? Because he's quickly running out of magic and health.
I believe he has a fairy, but I don't know what he's got for magic refills. Oh, and taking a death there, really tough with the Master Sword. But he's got the fairy. We'll see if he. I think maybe he picked up a green potion from one of the bottles, but we'll see.
He's been pretty liberal with his use of magic, so yeah, he does have a blue potion in order to refill here. Only needs it for phase 4.
And we saw a Moldorm fall over on Incoherent's side, which is a bit unfortunate because he's still not totally out of it. He needs some sort of execution issue from TjMaelstrom, but it's not over till the done comes in the race room. All right, TjMaelstrom entering the last phase of Ganon. Probably going to, being really careful with that lamp. You really want to get the torch glitch when you're on Master Sword because you've got a long day of 24 spins ahead of him.
Yep, just take your time on this. He probably does not want to take too much time, just given how this seed has gone. Pedestal, left side swamp was required. You never know what your opponent has done, but you do not want to run out of magic or be too aggressive and give Ganon a hug or run out of fire rod shots here.
I think we're on about 10 spins right now.
He is setting up these triples really, really well. This is a really nice pattern for TjMaelstrom.
Yeah, when you can get triples consistently like TjMaelstrom, you really mitigate the sword advantage that Incoherent's going to have. If he say missed the torch glitch and was only getting doubles, Incoherent would save a lot of time on him. Whereas when you can execute like TjMaelstrom is right now, it's really nice.
All right, Incoherent also on his way into Ganon. His TjMaelstrom is pretty close to the end of phase 4.
Yeah, probably just need one more cycle after this one if he gets the triple.
That'll do it. So TjMaelstrom just has to cross this bridge, and he will take this series 2-0 versus Incoherent. Go on to face Kern in the next round, while Incoherent will face
Paradox.
Paradox. Thank you. GG's to TjMaelstrom, finishing with a time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, 38 seconds.
Yeah, for this sort of seed, that is not a bad time. They basically full cleared this game.
Yeah, absolutely. We had all dungeons, pedestal seed. We had a left side swamp gamble. Very, very few things they did not check.
Yeah, I guess the only saving grace was the 4th location big key rather than, say, 18th location big key in Jan's Tower. Incoherent getting the torch glitch, handling this last phase of Gan pretty well as well. So, and he has the tempered sword, so it'll be nice and quick for him. Should be just about done. Perhaps one more cycle after this one.
Yeah, that tempered sword means it takes the spins from 24 to 12. So much faster fight for Incoherent. Unfortunately, not enough, but still, GG's to Incoherent for doing this seed in about 150 and 20 seconds will be his official time.
Yeah, and the real difference between this seed is just the extra draining the dam, mountain climb, and going to left side swamp. Other than that, this race was right on time between these two runners.
And we'll see if we can get them pulled into an interview just right here. We are joined by both TjMaelstrom and Incoherent. GG's to both of you on the fine race we saw.
Hey, good game. I'm glad it was such a close race. I mean, when something's on pedestal like that, it's bound to be pretty close.
Yeah, we were talking after the race, and like, you have no idea where you are. Like, you're in GT, you have no idea what they did. Like, did I screw myself with that swamp play? Did he do the same thing? Did he double dip some dungeons? I don't know.
Well, there was just so few things left by the time I got to GT. I'm like, this is really close. It's got to be really close. So I gotta play as tight as possible.
I mean, my map is black. I have the shovel and the other left side swamp chest. I think that's it, and one other thing fire.
There was bombs, by the way, in that other chest.
Yeah, you guys definitely full cleared this whole seed. So, TjMaelstrom, when you finished Swamp Palace, you have Quake Medallion. You have the option to go to Misery Mire, but you also know there's one item left in pod and the pedestals in play. Can you kind of walk through our thought process and how you decided to make what was ultimately the correct play and check the pedestal there?
Well, it was really a matter of practicality and prudence. I find Quake, I'm like, oh, you dirty seed. What are you trying to do? You're trying to split my decision again. So I needed that information, even if it did cost me like a couple of extra minutes. I needed to know. I wanted to know if the right decision was to go into Misery Mire to look for the red cane there, or to clear the rest of the game for pedestal. If I didn't see red cane on pedestal, then frankly the question would still be up in the air. It would have been a toss-up between, do I finish pod or do I go to Misery Mire? And I would have went to Misery Mire. But who knows how that would have turned out if that was if Ped was not the answer. It was really just boiled down to me needing to know what was on Ped before I commit. Yeah,
definitely nice. And on Incoherent side, we were wondering when during the race if maybe knowing that Cane of Samaria was on the pedestal, it could have actually hurt you for your Swamp Palace decision. How did you feel about that when you decided to squip left side swamp there?
So I went and checked, like, I'd done the mountain, I'd done all the crystals that we could do. I had Magic Bat left to check because I got to Zaha pretty late. Like, okay, let me check the pedestal, and then maybe I can figure out which pendant I want to pick that way. Oh, there's a cane on the pedestal, and I need one more item. Let me just let me just do the dungeon's sort of reverse order of go mode ability or something. And surely it will show up in front of me. And then it didn't. And then I'm going into Swamp Palace going, you know what? It might just be in Turtle Rock. That's 6 items versus like 1 or 2 on left side. I could just do that and play for that. And I don't think it's the wrong decision. It just didn't work out here. That's rando.
Yeah, that's the motto of rando. Not the wrong decision. It just didn't work out. It's kind of how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I can't think of any bad decisions either of you made. Just with the knowledge that either of you had, it just happened to work one way and didn't.
For the whole game, pretty much, right after Hype Cave, I was absolutely fixated on that fire rod. And every single thing that was locked behind that fire rod, I found nothing. Not a single thing. Which is what led me to go to Ice Palace before Swamp Palace. Because I needed that early fire rod to pay off. Like, I was fixated on it.
Well, my first 2 crystals, I think, actually were Thieves and Skullwoods. And I just went right back to Pyramid going, huh, this is interesting. And no, nothing.
Nothing. I found a flute, thankfully.
It's there, but, you know.
Yeah, we were both hoping, Dane and I were both hoping that something would come out of Pyramid Fairy and maybe lead you somewhere else. But really, it just came down to who was going to get that Quake medallion and who was going to recognize the, pedestal was Cane of Samaria. I do want to take a look at what's coming up next for the two of you. TjMaelstrom, you're going to face off against Kern in the second round of groups, and Incoherent, you'll face off against Paradox 64. Any thoughts on your opponents coming up?
Well, it's never promising when you have to match up against somebody they named a trick after, so I'm looking forward to the challenge.
I mean, everyone in the group is fairly evenly matched. I think there's no freebies in this group. Certainly, I'm sure I've lost a Paradox on ladder before, so we'll see what happens. Maybe I make it to round 3. Maybe I don't. Hopefully, I make it to round 3. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely good luck to both of you two and the rest of this tournament. You guys really put on a great show today. So everyone in chat, definitely give these runners a follow. They went through this long seed and just showed off a lot of good execution. So props to those guys.
I won't curse you by saying I hope to see you for run back.
Well, if you do, then I'm looking forward to playing again. These races we had where I thought were really close and really good. Especially this one.
Yeah,
you may actually get a chance to get your run back.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, GG's to both of you. I wish you good luck in the next round against your opponents. As for our viewers, we're not totally done yet. We've got 2 other games in progress, probably near the ending stages. We've got JP versus Chimo on SpeedGaming right now, and Orange versus Azure on SpeedGaming 5. But if it's too late for you, be sure to tune in tomorrow morning at 10:25 Eastern Time for Waterloo versus Homemade Beer. That'll be on SpeedGaming Prime. Rest of the action in the afternoon, be sure to check the schedule for full details. Anything else to close out this this one heck of a seed here?
Follow the book.
Follow the book. All right. Well, anyway, GG's to our runners. Thank you again to our my co-commentator Dane. Thank you to our tracker Jaxie, and be sure to give our runners a follow. Be sure to give SpeedGaming 1 through 5 a follow as well to follow up on the rest of the tournament. We're just getting started here, so be sure to tune in every day for more rando. Dane, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I'm echoing what Lumaga just said. These early rounds of the tournament are so great because there's so many good runners doing so many races. You can just tune in whenever your schedule allows you, and you'll be able to see a great game. So definitely check the schedule to see what's on the docket tomorrow. So great run again, guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks again for the restream and the commentary.
Night, everybody.